Very, very, very welcome to everybody. Happy Monday to you all. We have lots of exciting stuff to look at today. And remember, this is Jared with Day Traders FX. Remember, trading is riskier than driving down an icy road with no helmet and, I don't know, whatever you're supposed to say for how risky trading is. So keep in mind, trading can be a pretty risky business, so be careful with all that. I'm Jared with Day Traders FX. You can go to my website and pay us a visit. Uh, have a little test run for the trading group. You can get a free trial. I always like to remind everybody on Monday about that because it's a week long. You can get a full feel of the market for the week. Um, and we're just on all kinds of tricky times of day and night. Last week I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day because why the heck not? The week before that I was up at 1:30 a.m. every day, just kind of went on through. I think this week I'm going to do like 5. I think I'm going to be up at 5, maybe 4:30. It's getting later every week, so I think I'm going to be up a little bit later than normal. So like 4:30 or 5. We'll see how that whole situation goes. Hopefully well. Um, and we'll get some of the U.S. and the U.K. activity. Um, I probably should just stay up till like 3 a.m. and then call it good, but I just feel like I can't miss the U.S. sessions. But we have a lot of news, so that's another thing to talk about. We have a lot of news this week, and we're going to do pretty much a live special news event probably every day, except for today. So we have a lot of really important news announcements coming out all week. We have Australian interest rate news, which is something that is of the utmost importance. I am totally not going to be able to be here because I am part of a Monday night softball league, so I got to go hit some home runs for the for our local city league, or not hit home runs, one of the two. But otherwise, we'd have a live session for the interest rate news because that's going to be a big deal. I'm going to leave some charts and some levels posted for members. If you get a free trial in the next little bit, you can join in and see some of the charts and setups we'll be looking at for the Australian interest rate news. Tomorrow, the big-ish news, we'll keep an eye on New Zealand pairs. New Zealand pairs have been moving quite a bit, so we'll be watching those. I'll be sending out links later on this evening for all the members, and we'll be doing a live event for New Zealand news. We'll be doing a live event, maybe not for Australian news later on that day. Um, and then going into Wednesday, we have Draghi speaking at the wee hours of the morning. We've got some ADP numbers in the U.S. We'll be live for that. We have got that's probably what we'll be live for. We'll be live obviously for the 7 a.m. As Yellen chats about everything. So we'll be watching. We'll be live for all of this on Wednesday. Thursday, we have the interest rate vote for the UK and interest rate news. We're going to be live for that. That's 4 a.m. Don't worry about that. Friday, we've got US and Canadian employment numbers, and we're going to have a live session for that as well. So, as you can tell, we're going to have a lot of live stuff this week. We'll have at least one additional live session every single day for the news. And we'll just take it from there. It should be exciting. There should be a lot of movement, a lot of activity. Looking forward to that. We've seen recently that in the last at least day or two, kind of since the close and the open of the market this week, um, uh, we've seen a little bit of Swiss franc strength. We've seen a little bit of New Zealand weakness. We're going to see how that continues on. As far as the regular stuff goes, it's been pretty quiet, to start this week off. But we've got some great levels to talk about, some things that we're looking at doing. Okay, I'm going to actually stick to my notes today because there's a lot of currency pairs to talk about, and I just want to go with the ones that I think are going to be somewhat interesting this week. So there's definitely a ton to cover, but let's just get down to the ones that we think are going to do something. I'll be honest, I have no idea where the euro is headed. I don't know if it's going up or down, but I think we have just a slight possibility of it heading back up from this 110 area. So I'm slowly sneaking into being long euro dollar. I'm just slowly eking into that whole situation. Now that could very much change going into employment numbers on Friday, but for the first part of the week, I think we might see some decent support at 110 that is able to hold the euro dollar. If the euro dollar starts moving below 110, then I'll be looking for opportunities to maybe short it down into the 109 area again and kind of go for it from there. But 110 is going to be important for euro dollar this week. So at this point, I'm like 60% long and 40% short in my brain, and I'm definitely not sure that the euro is not going to continue down before it moves up. But 110 is going to tell us everything. If it can push below 110, then we may see a double bottom around 109. If it cannot, then 110 will kind of be our zone. If we don't want to have huge stop losses, then we can just put them right below 110. And if it starts dipping below that, we can be out and watch it from there. So 110 is our big level. If we hold 110, I'm looking for 111.50 at the very least. If we break 110, I'm looking for 10900. So that's what I'm looking for in the euro. I have nothing to say about the pound other than it's probably a good idea to stay out. I don't have much to say about dollar CAD or euro CAD at this point. I posted a chart for dollar CAD, and there is a bit of a bear flag, so I think that's worth keeping an eye on. And actually, that didn't make my notes, and it should have made the notes for right now, because I actually kind of like the dollar CAD. It's getting a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern here, and I like that. Oil's rallied a little bit. Dollar CAD may be a nice opportunity to continue to short. I'm kind of leaning towards U.S. dollar weakness this week. I think we're going to see some dollar weakness going into this week, and that could be hugely reversed going into the end of the week where we have employment numbers, but I'm kind of looking for that dollar weakness for the moment. Okay. All right, Sharon, okay. So that's what I'm looking for, a little bit of dollar weakness most likely. I think we've got a good chance of a bear flag playing out on this dollar CAD. We'll see how it plays out. So New Zealand dollar, let me just say this about New Zealand dollar. I think we've got a very interesting level. I don't know what I want to do with New Zealand dollar, but I do know that 66.20 is pretty intense. We've got a pretty fantastic double bottom at 66.20. We're not that far away from it. We're 130 pips away. If we break 66.20, if we retest it, that's going to be an important level this week. We're going to see how that goes. Otherwise, I don't know what I want to do with New Zealand dollar, but I'm just watching that 66.20. I don't really have much of a setup on this one as of this current moment, other than that fantastic support down there, which could cause another bounce or could cause a break. And I'm just kind of watching to see what happens as we approach that level. So we'll see how that goes. 66.20, 66.20. That's New Zealand dollar. Okay. Not too much to say on Australian dollar today. We broke above some support. Good for it. Aussie New Zealand, not much to say there. Couple quick things to say about kind of the Aussie pairs. Aussie dollar, US dollar, a little bit of a bottoming pattern. I want to be long Aussie dollar this week, but I don't have too much of a setup there yet. Aussie CAD, a little bit of a bottoming pattern here as well. Some nice missed pivots. I would consider being long Aussie CAD as well. Aussie New Zealand's a little choppy and ugly for me. I don't really have much to say there. I like Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie though, and so I like being long Aussie dollar. I like being long Aussie CAD, potentially Aussie New Zealand. We'll see how the Aussie pairs go. Good, Sharon, excellent. And I like being long Australian dollar against euro and against the pound. So I'm looking at these as potential opportunities, and I think we've got some nice things to be looking for. The pound Aussie, for example, has some pretty great numbers as far as my indicator is concerned. So everything's looking pretty good to start, keeping an eye on some shorts with with pound Aussie. So I like that, but here's what happened on the pound Aussie. Big channel, big trend line. It broke out and it's retesting that trend line. And so there could be a lot of support. It could be a retest and then a continuation up. But at this point, I think I want to see a nice little opportunity to short this thing and see if we get through some of these breaks. We have a nice little double bottom right here at 151.50-ish area, right in this little zone here. So the pound Aussie, it looks good. It looks good, and it's 215. Excuse me, 215. 15ish is where I like. I like this support. I think there could be something there. So I'm leaning, at least at this point, I'm leaning towards pound Aussie selling bias. Again, my daily indicator is telling me a couple of things are headed down. It looks pretty good there. And I like the Euro Aussie short this week as well. Euro Aussie has broken a pretty massive ascending trend line that goes back a decent little distance here. Goes back months and months, all the way into April. And we just broke that trend line, pretty textbook style. You can see that it broke, it ran back up and tested. We still haven't hit the 200 moving average. There's some decent numbers there, not amazing, but decent numbers. Pulled back, just about retested that trend line, and it's starting to run back down again. And so I like this Euro Aussie. I think we've got a good chance to short Euro Aussie. I want to get it a little bit closer to the 155.75 area. That's a little ways away right now. That's almost 200 pips away. But if we get a spike up of 100 pips or so going into the next day or two or three, I think we're going to have a good opportunity on this Euro Aussie to short. So I like Euro Aussie shorts for the moment. Euro Aussie shorts for the moment. I think that's a pretty good thing to be looking at and doing. So Euro Aussie. So I like shorts on Euro Aussie, shorts on pound Aussie. Not to jump around too terribly much, but we have an interesting little pattern here on Euro Pound as well. I have been looking at a million different things on Euro Pound, and this is kind of creating a fairly decent inverse head and shoulders pattern for us. Remember, the Euro Pound this is a weekly chart, so this is all year long. Here's a nice shoulder, head, and then a possible shoulder here. And we've got a fantastic neckline right here at about 74, 80, just shy of 7,500. So it's a long ways to get up to that neckline, a really long ways, a couple hundred, almost 400 pips. And so I'm going to be looking for opportunities to trade up to the neckline and through the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, if it ends up giving us a double bottom or doing something like that, then of course we'll kind of change the tune. But I'm just looking to see if this is going to give us an inverse head and shoulders pattern and give us a nice opportunity to buy into this, trade it up to that 7,500 area and through 7,500. And I think we'll have a good opportunity for that. So that's Euro Pound. I like also, I'm just deleting these charts as I'm talking about them so I don't cover too much. I like the pound Swiss franc, which is, I believe, over here somewhere. Pound Swiss franc is in kind of an interesting area. It made this big run up, over the last week or two or three or so. Big run up, and then it's kind of just slowing just a little tiny bit here. May dip down just a little more. We have some decent numbers on the 1 hour chart. We might have a nice opportunity to trade the break of some of these trend line areas here, and even just trade it down to the 200 moving, or excuse me, to the missed weekly pivot, which would be a 50 or so pip run. And we could see it run all the way down to the 200 moving average, which would be just over 100 pips. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities. We've seen decent Swiss franc strength, and the pound gave us just a little bit of strength. And I don't know how long lasting that's going to be. So I think there's going to be a nice opportunity to short that one down and take it on down from there. Oh, that's pound Swiss franc. So I'm kind of looking for US dollar weakness this week. I'm looking for probably a little bit of pound and euro weakness. I'm looking for a little bit of yen strength. I think we've got a chance to get a little bit of yen strength. I don't have too much to say about a lot of the yen pairs, but I do have something to say about dollar yen and about euro yen. So euro yen, let's talk euro yen first. Euro yen has been really playing around with this 13300 area. It dips down and it runs back up and it kind of just does all this mumbo jumbo. It's been pretty sideways and flat with the exception of these little spikes over the last fairly long while. But euro yen is in this nice little channel, and if it starts breaking out and breaking lower, and if it moves I like kind of where the market opened. I like this 132 kind of 50, 60 area. We start breaking below that, 50 or 60 or 70 pips below current market price. And I think we're going to have some nice opportunities to trade this euro yen down for some pretty big movements. So I'm looking for that. Otherwise, if this, gets back up above about 133.30, it's probably headed higher. So I don't know how much higher, but I think it's probably headed a bit higher. We have a lot of missed pivots up here if we get above 133.30. So we've got some pivots up at 133.60, 133.75, all the way up at 134.50 area. So there's some nice missed pivots up there. And so if this makes that break of 13300, or excuse me, 133.30, I think it's headed higher. If we get it below 132.50, 60, I think we're nicely headed lower. So it's just going to be a little bit of a waiting game on that one. Dollar yen, dollar yen is kind of in a similar type situation. Dollar yen has made a very nice double top up here at 121.50. We talked about this going into last week. 121.50 double top, and then it's just chopping around and going crazy here. So if this stays below 121.50, I'm looking for every opportunity I can to short this. If it makes it back, if it breaks 121.50, then I'll probably switch my tune just a little bit and get long dollar yen. So 121.50 is our big level to watch there. I want to get short against that, but I need I need some nice trendline activity, some nice confirmation that that's going to be good to get into. So hoping for a little bit of dollar yen weakness. We have some great levels to, or excuse me, yen strength. We have some great levels to short dollar yen, euro yen, so on. If we see yen strength, looking for a little bit of dollar weakness. We could potentially buy euro, buy Aussie, short dollar CAD, all of that stuff if we see some US dollar weakness. And then I pretty much across the board want to be long the Aussie this week. So I want to be long Aussie against euro, pound, CAD, probably US dollar, probably New Zealand dollar. I kind of want to just be long Aussie this week. So we'll see how that plays out. But these are the setups we're looking for. The levels are going to be important. Remember, 110 for euro dollar. 110 is going to be a big deal. 133.00 and 133.30 on euro yen is a big deal. 121.50 on dollar yen, big deal. And we've got some other great levels to look at, but those are probably the three kind of most obvious, most intense levels we need to be watching this week. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the market plays out. I'll be up all hours of the day and night watching these setups. We'll have countless news events this week and just track the movement with the news and see how that goes. And we'll take it from there. It should be an exciting week. There should be a lot of stuff happening, and I'm looking forward to the market playing out this week and seeing how it goes. That's all I have to say for the moment. Thanks for joining us, guys. Questions, comments, send them right on over. I'm happy to answer anything about anything.